Hey guys, welcome back. So we're back in our series where we're mixing a song from the top down. So the last video, I explained to you kind of my process of setting up the DAW, setting up the workflow for success. I even talked a little bit about why I like to mix in AirPods. So if you were with me on that video, let's go ahead and jump into starting to approach the drums as part of the process in this mix. And if you haven't watched the first video, be sure to watch that one because it's going to give some more context for what we're doing. But let's jump in. So I'm going to share my screen with you here. All right, so in the last video, we took a couple seconds to kind of just push the faders up and get a good balance with the drums as we're sending it into the drum bus, which is just kind of a sub mix, if you will. Like I said in the last video, I've got my drum bus going out through my Neve 8816 summing mixer. So we'll hit play here and kind of see where we're at. Yeah, that already sounds pretty awesome. So one thing I like to do, I'm going to grab this SPL Attacker Plus. And all I'm going to really do is just kind of push this attack thing up, this attack button up, until it starts feeling a little punchy, kind of like we have a drum compressor on, but before we really start compressing anything. Yeah, you hear how that just kind of instantly sounded just punchier. And again, I'm all about trying to do the least amount of steps possible to get to where we want to be with the mix. So I like that. Notice I brought the output volume down just a little bit because I don't want to be fooling ourselves into thinking that louder sounds better, because louder does sound better, but it doesn't mean you have a great mix or a good balance. So as I'm kind of doing some of this stuff, you'll notice I don't do it on everything. Sometimes I want a little bit more volume, a little bit more punch from a plugin. But I also don't want to trick myself into thinking I'm hearing something sounding better without kind of level matching it. I usually don't do like an exact perfect level match, but just so I know that I've still got more headroom here. So next I probably will add a bus compressor. This is where we can get creative, but this song, so it's important to know your song and kind of know the vibe of what you're mixing, and also I like to have reference mixes, references from the artist. I'll usually ask them to send me 2 or 3 songs that you really like that you feel are kind of a good reference point for the mix, and so we'll kind of start from that point. This song is kind of, it's like a CCM worship song, but it's got a little bit more of like a folky indie rock kind of vibe to it. It's hard to explain exactly, but sometimes that will inform which plugins I use, kind of which vibe I want. I think probably the API 2500 bus compressor would be cool. It's really punchy. I don't want to do too much. Notice I'm going to set my attack here really slow, so it's really grabbing all of the transient. So let's see what this guy sounds like. Yeah, that sounds nice. It's not doing too much, but we're just making it a little bit punchier, a little bit, just kind of glued together. And again, all we've done is pushed up faders, and we're starting with the top down approach on the drum bus. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this guy, this Silver Bullet. I've been using this quite a lot lately. It's kind of just a vibe box. I don't know how to explain it. There is a physical analog piece of equipment that you can get. I have the plug-in version, and what I've noticed, I'm just kind of talk you through what I'm doing here. The tight knob is just kind of a high-pass filter. But notice when we move this air knob up, we don't want to do too much, but it has a really nice, just kind of shimmery effect to it. Yeah, so again, we're just shaping the drums a little bit without having to go through on all the individual channels. That already sounds pretty good. I'm definitely going to add probably a trigger on the snare just to give a little bit more of a direct snare sound. This one has a little bit of bleed in it, which is normal, of course. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create kind of a snare sound that I want using some samples. So I'm going to send it to a snare trigger. Oh, my keyboard just disconnected and added a million T's. I don't know why that happened. So let's start with not doing that. And let's just do that instead. Okay, so there's our snare trigger channel. Can't even speak now. I'm going to send it out to our drum bus. We're going to do pre-fader and just put this at unity. So basically it's just sending a direct copy of our snare drum signal to this guy. So now let's grab the Steven Slate trigger plug-in. I'm going to bring our detail down quite a bit. And then, yeah, I'm just going to kind of listen through some different snares. I think for this one, since it's kind of that indie, folky kind of vibe, I think it could be cool to use like a lower, deep-tuned, warm snare. Drum Sample Shop has some really cool stuff. I love this Joe Carroll pack in particular. So let's kind of poke around and see what snares could be cool. I like this one. Ooh, that might be the winner. I like that one too. That's cool. That might be too low. That's super low. This one might be the winner. Let's try this guy. We're going to bring our top snare mic down some so that we're really hearing the trigger. Okay, I like that. I don't know if that's it though. I like that. Okay, you'll notice something I'm doing with the articulations here. There's like a big stereo one, a close mono, which sounds really kind of dead, and just obviously mono. And there's a natural that's kind of a happy medium. I'm going to start there because what I can do, I would rather have a triggered kind of close snare sound And then I can always add some verb or some like room samples like I've showed you guys before in my drum mixing video. I don't want to start on this one with kind of already having like my main snare sample is this big reverby, or not reverby, but roomy snare sample. I want to still have that kind of punchy direct snare sound. And I'm going to grab this guy and drop it on this channel. Yeah, and so notice just gave it a little bit more life, a little bit more warmth in the low end, kind of that low mid punch, and then a little bit more kind of sparkle on the high end. Nothing crazy, not overly compressing it. You'll notice I turned on the nuke mode there and it was just a little bit too much. So I backed that one off. But yeah, and now what we might do is bring back in our snare mic and just kind of see what the relationship between the two is like. Too much. So that's a cool vibe so far. Let's work on our kick a little bit. Yeah, that already feels pretty cool. The kick sounds awesome. I don't want this to sound unnatural. So this song is very organic. There's not a ton of different instruments happening. Like it's more band, like guitar, bass, drums driven versus like a bunch of like synth and stuff like that. So I don't want to like over process anything. Something we could maybe do later is we could mess with this knee mic. Notice I haven't messed with the mono overhead or the hats. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and hide those. I usually don't use those. I have nothing against them. I'm sure they sound awesome. But for me, it's like, I think I saw a Chris Lord Algae video one time where he basically talked about how much he likes to just delete, mute, hide channels on his mix setup, because for him it's like the least amount of things that he has to think about, the least amount of decisions he has to make, the better. And so that's kind of my approach as well. Like I might use this knee mic. Sometimes I'll do some interesting stuff. Like I'll just kind of show you here. Like it's a mono knee mic. It's just kind of capturing a mono image of the whole kit. It could be cool to throw some delay on it. Again, just a little bit of texture, just some depth. I'm not saying I'm going to commit to that and use that, but that is something that we could do, kind of use it like an effect mic. You could also make it super crunchy. If I engage this unity mode here, it means that this is just adding saturation. Just texture. It's just texture. That could be cool. Okay, so I'm liking what we've got so far with our drum mix. I'm gonna go ahead and start pushing up some of the percussion stuff. I'm not sending it through the drum bus, but you'll notice like in a lot of songs, the percussion, it's all part of the rhythm of the song, obviously. And so I'm gonna kind of address this at the same time. So let's start pushing up some of these faders. Okay, so that feels pretty cool, right? Again, that's just a basic drum balance. We could spend some more time going through that, but I wanna show you kind of how after I get the drums feeling the way I want, what am I gonna do from there? I'm just gonna start by pushing the faders up on all of the other channels and just start building a balance. Because before we start reaching for EQs and compressors and all that kind of stuff, I really want to see if I can just create a balance in the song. Um, just using the faders, just using volumes, and then eventually pans, just to kind of see if we can get a vibe going. Because if we already get here where we have already got a good vibe, everything's feeling good. I would rather start there versus like in EQing every individual channel. And I'm not saying I won't EQ individual channels, but I don't want to start there because then I'm just kind of layering um, uninformed decisions on top of one another, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, so let's do this. Uh, we're going to end this video right here about kind of building a drum balance. Come with me to the next video where we're going to talk about starting to get an overall balance with the whole mix. So I'll see you in just a minute.